So I'm just going to explain one of the designing model when you want to manage your teaching resources. It's called Azure model. So it's basically acronym for analyzing your learners' characteristics, how you can set your objectives and selection or modification of teaching materials, or utilizing your materials and required learners' response and evaluation. So the first one is analyzing the learners. So always whenever you design a teaching resources or managing your teaching resources, it's very important for you to know about your learners' background. What are their general attributes in terms of their ages? Because based on the age, probably the learning capabilities might vary. Probably the age also has a very close relation with their year of experience, qualifications, and the gender probably, like, and the interest. So this general attribution about your learners will help you to design or modify or improve your teaching materials and also to manage accordingly. And number two is prior competencies. So it's very important to know your learner's background in terms of their learning capabilities and the competency skills. Because when we teach different set of learners, for example, like a degree level or masters at the working class, I think it's very important to understand their competency skills, whereby it opens an opportunity for you to have more engagement, at the same time to manage your teaching resources more effectively and efficiently. Because always in learning, there are like what we have a different kind of learners, some auditory, visual, and tactful. Sometimes we do have some physically challenged people or visually challenged, or maybe like a lot of physical challenges in their learning. So it's or probably like technology readiness, right? It's very important for us to know who's our learners are. And yes, next, after knowing the learners, it's very important to align your learning outcomes and the standards with your learners. So this is a ABCDE approach. So A stands for audience. Who's your learner? Who's your focus? Okay. So try to put your objective intended, okay, aligned to your program learning, or maybe your entire training, or probably it's a learner's outcome. So it's very important to know, the first one is always your standards are set by knowing your audience. Next, number B, behavior. So try to know your learners' behavior attitudes, their capabilities, the performance demonstrated. So when you apply the Bloom's taxonomy, probably if you want to set your assessment, probably we need to put a different category of the task. So for example, your creativity or developing skills. So what you are really going to measure, and what is your behavior when we talk about the learner's behavior, how they are going to react to it, what is their capabilities. Okay, so it's all has to be well set. Number three is conditions. What are the conditions under which behavior or performance will be observed? For example, your learning material, they are, for example, they are reading an article, then you are asking them to articulate the SWOT analysis from the article. So that's going to be a condition, right? The SWOT analysis, you are conditioned from your teaching resources. Maybe you can take another example. Your teaching resources is watching a video. Okay, so in the video you are asking the students to come with some kind of analysis. Okay, but you say the analysis has to be in a point form or bullet form. So automatically you're going to focus on that. And how you're going to observe, you tell, okay, you're going to give a presentation, or maybe it's going to be a group discussion. You're going to clearly define the rubrics. Then automatically the learners can understand how they will be assessed. The last is the D, to degree which your knowledge or skill will be masters. That means by slowly improvising your teaching, managing your teaching resources, automatically it will help you to master your knowledge. And also you tell the students, okay, the first few weeks, this is the teaching approach, this is how we are managing, and the next stage we are improvising it. So you try to educate them how you are improvising your learning skills. Number 3 is how you are going to set the strategy by using the different resources. So it's very important for you to understand what is your teaching method. Are you going for a lecture mode where you are going to address a mass students, or you are going for a tutorial mode, or it's going to be a workshop or demonstration skills, or it's going to be a video based learning approach, or it's going to be a case based approach, or you're going for a collaborative learning approach. So it's always better to know which fits your learners and which fits your learning outcome, and you select that first. So after selecting that, then you find out whether which technology or media or material that very well supports your teaching. For example, I'm going to use a case-based analysis. So for my case-based analysis, the best thing will be maybe a media or materials. I have to provide them the case materials. Then I need to provide them a space where they can reflect all this. Then automatically the whole management system becomes useful. Then it is very important whether you are using traditional or modern approach. Okay, whether you are using a simple way of tools, or you're going for a sophisticated tools, right? Even chalk and board can be a powerful, or you're using a flip charts, or probably in your learning management system you clearly indicate, okay, this particular learning we are going to use measurement is going to be through PowerPoint presentation. It can be individual or group. So each and everything has to be properly strategized, and it has to be linked in your learning management. The next one, utilization of the technology, is very important, right? Okay, I have done my previous things, assurance, I know who's my audience, I developed my content, I already designed my teaching materials in the system, I already planned all my engagement. But it is very important to know, even though you selected the technology, media or material, it's very important to know how you are going to utilize that, like implementation, utilization of. So maybe you can apply this 5P process. Okay, once you design everything, try to have a preview, right? Even like a preview will help us to see ourselves whether we have done the things rightly, whether we have used the right teaching material, teaching resources, teaching technology. Okay, so when you preview, automatically it gives a space for you to improvise it, and probably can reduce your errors in your delivery approach. Number 2, prepare your technology, media and material. After you review, if is it sufficient or is there space. So you are looking for any improvement space, then prepare it accordingly. So after you prepare your technology, media or material, learning material, everything is perfect, but it's very important you prepare the environment. Whether your environment is a blended learning, is it a full face-to-face, or it is a hybrid approach, or it's a full online, or it's a flipped classroom. So all these things is a learning environment. So you are going to prepare that accordingly. Then after you design your learning space, then you prepare your learner accordingly. Okay, so this is my learning space. According to that, I'm going to prepare my learners. For example, if it is a self-learning approach, everything is put into the learning management system, where the students have a self-learning approach. The last one, okay, I prepared my learners, but how I'm going to create a learning experience? Okay, learning experience is very important in the current world, because people are looking for experience in every engagement they are doing. When they go for shopping experience. When they travel experience. When they go for mobile experience. So same applies to our learning. As a learners, they always look for learning experience. So the experience normally, how you engage them, how you entertain them, okay, how you empower them. Like 3 E's can be applied in learning experience. How you engage them using a lot of learning material, learning activities, or maybe making an immersive learning experience. Engagement, how you are going to, like after engagement, how you are going to entertain them, right? Entertainment is very important. That means when I say entertainment, how your learning activities or assessments is going to really entertain them. Create a kind of hedonic motivation. Fun, it has to be fun. Nowadays, the activity has to be more fun, right? You can use a lot of interactive tools like a Kahoot or maybe quizzes. This all can give you a little bit of fun of entertaining approach. And finally, empowerment. The last E, I can say it's an empowerment in the learning experience. So when we say empowerment, how as a learner they are getting an empowerment? Okay, flexibilities, putting their ideas, improvising the learning space, right? You are giving a task to the students to empower them to take different roles, design thinking approach, right? Or connecting them to the industry players, connecting them to the social media, going for a borderless learning approach, right? This all will help them to feel the learning experience. That's 3E: engage, entertain, and empowerment. Okay. The next one, it is what we have keep on talking, required learners' participations. So even though we design everything very well, but if you fail to engage your learners in your whole learning journey, I think your whole learning material, teaching resources become, I can say, negative impact. So it's required a lot of planning, how you're going to actively engage your students, monitoring, okay, maybe you're putting any timelines, right? Whether you're putting any timelines in your resources, or giving notification to your students, right? So it's always important to plan very well. Next, need to figure out whether your entire learning material is designed for class level or individual level, or you are looking in a more holistic level. For example, you create your learning material with 5 tasks, maybe was two tasks can be more individual, then you move to group, then move to the class. So automatically there is a layer of engagement happening level in your classroom. So this can very well connect with your Bloom's taxonomy, different level of engagement. The most basic step that you can take is require the students in a class discussion. So when you do a delivery, so automatically you can do some kind of class discussion with your students, right? The next is a more sophisticated approach which require that students prepare questions and comments at home. This is where, when you are going for a flipped classroom approach, or when you are going for contactless classes, I think this is a good approach. You share all the material in your learning management system in Moodle or Google Classroom or Times, whatever, any learning management system. So automatically where the students watch your video and collect all the information, and you put a link at the end where the students can get a space to post their reflections or questions. I can say if you want to use this, the best platform will be Padlet, Padlet, Padlet platform, which is a digital wall where you can post your teaching video, where the students can watch your video and give comments and rate and put questions. So where you can have a kind of long term engagement with your students. Okay. Lastly, you might even allow individual students to learn or probably lead the class at discussion. That means this is where the empowerment comes in, right? So it's very important, like certain times you ask your students to lead the entire class, see the leadership skills, resilience skills. Probably you ask the students to organize the event, like a seminar or small virtual events. You see what kind of different learnings can be done. So align that to your assessment. That will be very interesting. It's very important in your teaching material, put all the rubrics. Okay, what is the event? What is the duration of the event? What is the focus of the event? Whom you should call? Okay, and how many participants should be allowed? What platform should be used? So you are giving a clear guidelines to your students. That's very important. And lastly, number whatever we do, it's very important. The last stage is a evaluation and revise, because we all believe there is always a space for improvement, right? So these are all some of the questions according to the Azure model. I think they put like, did your lesson meets the learning objective that you have planned? Whether you have reached your objective, is your way of assessing is in aligned to the learning objective. So the first thing is more about your delivery connected to the students or learners capabilities, and whether everything is aligned with the learning outcome. The second one, if there is any space for improvement, you are looking, can this lesson can be improved? If yes, how? Whether I'm going to improve in terms of teaching material, or I'm going to improve my assessment, or I'm going to improve my engagement. So I'm going to look for my weakness in my presentation, right? So I'm based on that, I'm going to improve that. The third one, whether my choice of media and material, is it a good one, or is there better things are available? So this is where you can go for a lot of teaching resources available in the market, but try to search for authentic resources. Okay, you go to platforms like LinkedIn, or maybe even you go to Facebook. There are a lot of learning groups available, so automatically where you can look for information. And also tools, how will my assessment tools can be improved? Okay, for example, you are doing Padlet and everything, or even I can tell there is another app called Nearpod, okay, NEARPOD, which will turn all your prepared slides into an interactive slides. Okay, and lastly, you also see whether it's possible to use other things apart from what you have used in your teaching material. So how to know that? Share it, probably get a reflection from your peers, or maybe from your friends. Share your teaching source resources, ask them to reflect on it, give some suggestions. That will be a good job, right? So all this thing will help you to improvise your things. So this is what we call it as Azure design and managing your resources. So Azure model basically helps you to analyze yourself, design yourself, and improve for it, managing and improving.